South of the border, former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz says he's not coming back to Congress. The Republican said he has no intention of serving another term in the House now that he's no longer President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General. This, as reports suggest, Trump's next nominee is expected to be Kelly Loeffler. As President-elect Donald Trump continues to put his cabinet together, his next nominee is expected to be Kelly Loeffler for Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. That's according to reports. Trump was expected to meet with her at Mar-a-Lago this afternoon, but he hasn't made a formal announcement. Meanwhile, after Matt Gaetz withdrew from consideration as Trump's pick for Attorney General, the president-elect named former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi to lead the Justice Department. Today, Gaetz saying he will not be rejoining Congress next year.
While our discussions were going well, I found myself having to do two jobs at one time, Charlie, and you got a front row seat to this. I had a full-time job explaining to senators that maybe a tweet I sent about them was rash and not reflective of how I would serve as Attorney General. And at the same time, I was having to build out the Department of Justice.
Gaetz withdrew following scrutiny over a federal sex trafficking investigation. The Republicans' announcement came one day after meeting with senators in an effort to win their support for his confirmation to lead the Justice Department.
You had concerns about political capital being expended here.
I did, and I think that was the case that was made, to be honest. I mean, simple math, I think it was made clear that there's not a path, and if there's not a path, you're going to spend a lot of political capital for a losing cause.
I think there was a widespread sense of this was a positive development for the confirmation process.
In a post yesterday on Truth Social, Trump wrote, "Matt has a wonderful future, and I look forward to watching all of the great things he will do." Also this week, Trump's allies on Capitol Hill are rallying around his defense secretary nominee, Pete Hegseth, as new details surfaced about allegations that Hegseth had sexually assaulted a woman in 2017.
Did you sexually assault a woman in Monterey, California?
I have, as far as the media is concerned, it's very simple. The matter was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you very much.
It's a disgrace that those allegations are nothing but what you said, allegations that are he said, she said. This is a case that has been dismissed. This is just dredging up something to try to smear and discredit a candidate. It reminds me of what happened to Brett Kavanaugh. It's a disgrace.
He's not the only member of Trump's chosen staff and cabinet accused of some form of misconduct. Others include Elon Musk, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Linda McMahon. They all deny the claims. Joining us now to talk more about Trump's cabinet picks so far is Professor of English and Cultural Studies at McMaster University, Henry Giroux. Thank you for joining us, Henry.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
Let's start with Matt Gaetz. After some backlash and debate over his nomination to serve as Attorney General, he withdrew his name from consideration yesterday. What do you think led him to this decision?
The report that was going to come out of the House it's either been leaked or it's going to be publicly presented, and he was scared that he knew that it would be impossible in some ways to get appointed with that report being public. There's also the other issue, right? It's totally unqualified. I mean, he's not qualified to be the Attorney General. He's there because he's a hack, and he was appointed because Trump hates the Justice Department and seeks revenge on it. And Gaetz was the obvious candidate in terms of his lunacy and his incompetence.
President-elect Donald Trump has made a number of nominations now to fill his cabinet. Some of them are still pretty controversial picks. What are your thoughts on the individuals he's chosen so far? What stands out to you?
Well, I think what stands out is he's chosen them not for competency, but for loyalty. I mean, I think that what Trump wants to do has often been missed in the legacy press, and that is the issue is not really the appointees. They're pretty obvious. They're incompetent and they're being chosen for their loyalty. I think the real issue is that Trump wants to rule by fiat. He wants to destroy the institutions that would provide guardrails for him and prevent him from being the dictator that he wants to be. And this is really a sideshow. That the real question we should be asking is, what are the plans he has in light of the people that he's nominating?
Do you feel like the people he nominated are qualified for these positions?
I think the only person who looks qualified to me is Marco Rubio. But at the same time, all of these people have tremendous flaws. I mean, Rubio does not want a ceasefire with Israel, which is, what's taking place in Israel is a slaughter. And Rubio is a hardliner. But I think the other candidates are just, most of them are just off the wall. I mean, you talk about Mike Huckabee. I mean, another person who doesn't want an Israeli settlement and actually claims that the Palestinians don't exist.
What are your thoughts on Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary?
I mean, he's a guy who belongs to an organization that believes that biblical law biblical law should basically rule the United States.
Can we talk a little bit about the process now of the nominations getting confirmed in Senate? What can we expect?
I think they'll all get confirmed. I mean, I think, remember, one of the things that's obvious here is what this election is really about in some fundamental way is that MAGA has taken over the traditional Republican Party. It's no longer a Republican Party, it's the MAGA Party. And I think that Trump has put into place in almost every situation people in the Congress and the Senate who are enormously loyal to him. And if anybody in the Senate disagrees with any of these nominations, you know what's going to happen. They're going to get a call, and he's going to say, as he said publicly, he's going to say, Elon Musk has millions. And if you don't agree, we'll kill you in the primaries. And I think that's going to work.
If they are confirmed, what major changes do you think we'll see across the border?
I mean, let's take the four major institutions. I mean, if you look at the Justice Department, that simply could be abused in ways that are unimaginable. FBI agents could go after dissenters. People in the department could prosecute people that Trump has disagreed with. Remember, Trump repeatedly has said this is about revenge. It's about revenge, it's about deportation, it's about getting rid of what he calls the deep state. The Justice Department is one of the elements of the deep state. The Defense Department, they're going to politicize the military. In one instance, Hesketh has said that he wants to fire every military commander who believes in diversity or supports diversity in the military. The intelligence community, I have no idea what it means. In terms of that nomination with respect to the CIA and the FBI. I mean, the Attorney General has control over these people. They can now be used to basically, again, go after Trump's critics or people that he considers unloyal. But the last one, I mean, this is a guy who threw a bear in the woods, who doesn't believe in vaccinations, Kennedy, who claims that fluoride should be taken out of the water. I think that this adds up, Manissa, to a disaster unlike anything we've ever seen.